What's the name of your castle, Mina? Beach Castle. So this is Mina's beach castle. And then let's see Alex's castle. Nice doorknob. What's the name of your castle, Alex? The Alex Tower. Awesome. So hey guys, it's Christopher from Art Kingdom here. I am showing you all a class I did with a couple of my students on 3D shapes, right? So what we did was we modeled clay, or plasticine as we know it in the Caribbean, and we made a castle using 3D geometric shapes. So before we begin, I just want to explain to you all what geometric shapes are. So let's go to the iPad. Okay, so I have my program open where I'm going to show you all how a shape works. So a shape is just a space enclosed by a line. So I think you can see my dotted line there, and just to really show us that sense of space, let's pick a nice color. How about orange? And let's fill that space with color so that we can see our shape. So this is a flat shape. We have a flat square. Now let's look at a 3D shape. So I'm gonna just draw one, and so I'm going to draw a circle, and to get my 3D shape, to show how it looks in space, I'm going to use shadow. So I'm just going to imagine that light is hitting it from one side and it's going to start to look more round. When I say round, I don't mean because it's a ball. I mean that it has different sides, whereas a flat object has one side, a 3D object has many sides. So when we're thinking about sculpture, we really want to think about it in the round, okay? So I'm not going to overshade that. My ball looks slightly round here. Now I'm going to just show you all a couple more geometric shapes. So if we look at the cube, I'm going to make my pen a bit thicker. If we look at a cube, remember this is just for you all to see. We have a one side, which is a square, one-sided shape, but a cube has 6 sides. When we draw it on a piece of paper, we only see 3 sides. So there's my 3D shape. So when we look at this 3D shape, the cube, we can notice that it goes, let me change my color to nice bright red. You can see it goes up and down. So up and down, it goes side to side, and it goes back, and it goes forward. So it's important to remember that about our 3D shapes. So for art supplies or materials for this class, it's not going to be very much, maybe just some plasticine or some clay or modeling clay. Step 1, you're going to mold a cuboid out of your plasticine. So I have a piece of green that fits about in my palm, right? You can start rolling your biggest piece into a ball. So I have a ball. What's my next step to get a cuboid after I have a ball? I have to roll it. So I think I see Mina doing that already. That one, yeah. And so I have it here. I don't want mine to be too long, right? So I have a nice short one here, right? See it? Now you're gonna make it nice and flat on both sides. So this is the one we want great shapes. The better your shapes are, the more it's going to look like a castle, right? So then flatten all my sides. We need 6 sides. Great. So now I think the next one we're going to make is the roof, right? So this is the main part of the castle. Yeah, leave it right there. For the next step, we're going to use our hands to sculpt a rectangular base prism. Oops. And then we're going to try and get the size of the roof to match the size of the cuboid. So that's the trickiest bit, right? So you're going to try and make sure it's about this piece is about a little bit smaller, right? But just big enough, right? But before we look at the roof, I want to look at the shape of a prism. A prism has a rectangular base and two rectangular sides and then two triangular sides. So a prism has how many sides? A prism has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So make it into a ball real fast. Okay, and then what you want to do is roll it into a cylinder, but you're going to make the cylinder the same length as your cuboid. Now you could always check if it's the same length. Is mine the same length yet? No, it's a little shorter, so I just need to go a little bit longer. Alright, now let's get the rectangular based prism, right? So a rectangular based prism, and that's going to go on top of my roof for my castle. So to make that, you have to get one flat side. This one is a bit trickier. One side's flat. Then we're going to do two sides. It's real tricky, huh? We're going to have to, we want it to have a pointed roof like this and the next side like this. So we're going to try and make it kind of like, that triangular shape. So it's actually three sides going around, right? Y'all see that? 1, 2, 3. So keep on trying till you get it, right? And we know we could perfect our shapes for very long to get them perfectly flat, but we don't want to spend too much time doing that. We'll fix it up all in the end, right? So I have mine. So y'all see that? Right. So now what we're going to do next. So we're going to try and make two cylinders of about the same size. Let's try to do our cylinders, right? So we don't want to use too much, because if you use too little, because then it won't be the same size as the main part of our castle, right? Roll it into a ball. And then we roll it long. So we want our towers to be nice and long. So we want to be taller than the other part of our castle. And then you flatten the sides. Flatten the sides. So see how long mine is? Nice. So I got a nice tower there. Let's try to get a piece about the same size. Make a ball. I roll that ball out. And a good way to see if they're the same height is just to put them right next to each other. So see, mine needs, is it perfect? Just a little bit more. And you want it to be just as thin too, so you don't want it to be one is fatter. So, but if it's not perfectly perfect, that's okay for now. So getting it perfectly perfect might take 2 or 3 times. So now I have my two sides of my castle. Y'all see that? So now that you have the two sides of your castles, which would be your towers, we want to put some roofs on that tower. So those roofs will be 2 cones of equal size. We want to go ahead and do the cones. So I don't need too much for my cones on the top. I think I'll do a little bit more, but really you don't need too much, or you have really tall cones, right? Not too small, not too big. Y'all see how much I have here? Not too much. And you want to rip both your pieces at the same time, so I'll make sure they're the same size, so that it's easier to have the same amount, right? So now you're going to roll a ball then how do we get a cone? Roll a ball, then you roll it into a cylinder. You don't want it to be too long of a cylinder. Flat on each side, yeah, that's fine. And then you just take your finger and you're going to roll one side to a point, right? So I have one cone, and then I'm gonna do, so y'all see mine, I'll rest it so y'all can see. Y'all see mine there? Right, so I make a ball. Remember how to do it. Roll a cylinder, not too long, flatten it out, and roll to a point. Alrighty. Too big? Okay, so I have all my shapes for my castle. So now, what I'll do is I'm going to take a pencil. I'm just going to draw in some lines. Remember we did lines? So get something sharp to mark with and make lines that are going to give your castle texture and interesting detail. So I'm going to do straight lines going around until you reach the next line. So you're going to do that for both. And then I'm going to do a line. So this, we have vertical lines and then we have horizontal lines. Remember the horizontal lines was horizontal, side to side, right? So we're going to do some side to side lines going around now. And you don't want to dig in too deep, but you want to do deep enough so that you can see them. So what we call these is called scoring. So you're going to do that for both of your towers. You could even use a stick for this. You don't need a pencil necessarily. I think I'll do the same thing for my cuboid. So you do straight lines going down and then straight lines going across. The points make it harder. Right, so now on the roof, what if you took your pencil and you just poked it like this? What we call this is texture. Right, so we have that, and I'm going to add windows now, right? So the windows are the trickiest bit, but I'm just going to take my pencil, I'm going to give it a nice stick in there. I'm going to try and dig out a small shape like a window. Y'all see that? So I just took my pencil and I just dug out that shape. So some parts of sculpting is removing your material. So we say we took some of the plasticine out. That's one way to sculpt as well. So I'm going to add another window on the next tower, and then maybe, and if we wanted to mix up our plasticine, you could use another color to make like doors and windows, but we're just going to draw them in. So I added 2 windows on the sides. And you see how these details really make your castle come to life when you're drawing all this stuff. And then on my house here, I'm going to do a nice big door. And I'll put some windows over. Y'all see my door? And you see, you want to make sure you could see it. And then a nice little dig for a window here and a window there. So I'm coming over to see yours now. So this is my house. See it? And these are my So I'll rest it nice and flat for y'all to see. And these are my two towers next to it. So you'll see that. Let me get this a little more forward. Okay, that's as close as I could get it. So there you have it, 3D castle. Okay guys, thank you for watching. We just learned how to make a castle using 3D shapes with plasticine, but you know, you can make anything using those 3D shapes once you use your creativity, once you put your mind to it. Those geometric shapes can be the structure and the basis for anything that you want to design or create. So if you want to learn more creative activities and have more ways and resources and materials for you to deepen your understanding of what art is and to increase the value of your abilities, just check us out on www.lightbloomsart.com. Make sure to put the www. Or you won't find us. So we're here to share art materials, skills and resources with you to help you and your family get better at making art. Thank you for watching.